station with the best music. Best music. Drop radio. Drop radio. Drop radio. Drop radio. Drop radio. Drop radio. Drop you need just one. I see you looking, but you hard to impress, huh? Then you found me. Drop radio. Now you 3 to 5, drop 9 is the best, it's the Bianca Burwell Show. You gon' listen for what you been missing, lady. Who you got for your radio? Got if you entrepreneur, make a radio rock. From Atlanta to the Cayman, the internet came and now the East and the West both loving what you're saying. And these guys for days, you feel like I'm a friend who's never loving what you play. Now with the old one and with the new one, Beat-Drops Radio, Beat-Drops Radio, Bianca Burwell Show, Bianca Burwell Show, Drop radio, drop radio, drop radio,
You are tuned into your girl Bianca Burwell on TheBeatDropsRadio.com. I got special guest Mayor Bill in the middle. What's going on, Mayor Bill?
Hey, what's going on, Bianca?
Man, we're a little late. I'm sorry, y'all. Folks was fussing me out.
You know what?
In the traffic. I'm sorry.
It was major traffic out there.
It didn't make no sense. I was like, is this, are y'all just doing this on purpose? I don't understand. I've driven this before, and I don't understand why it took so long for me to get here today. I don't know. Good thing I don't have to answer to a boss.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. You running the show. You the captain.
You know, just saying. Man, I do not like that. And we also have attorney Musa in the building. How you doing, sir?
It's a pleasure. Very good. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. I'm glad to have you here. We're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff. And my girl, Troya, made it back in the building. What's up? You know, I was talking about you.
Really?
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good. I was like, man, it was so exciting to have you here last time. I told Mayor Bell, bring her next time. Bring her.
And I did.
Yeah, you did. And you came through. So we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff today. Of course, current topics, there are a lot of things happening. But I want to pose the question, like I did already on social media, are grand juries being used to avoid going to court? We're starting to see this grand jury thing as a pattern. I don't know. That's my thought. You can watch the show by going to TheBeatDropsRadio.com, click on Watch Live, and the Q&A box is open. So if you have any questions, go there. Give us about 20 or 30 seconds and we'll be able to see it live. And as long as it's not crazy, we'll address it. The calling number is 404-826-9223. Again, 404-826-9223 is the call-in number here. We're going to play a little bit of old school. Is that all right, Mary Bell?
I think that's fine.
All right, cool, babies. It's been a minute since I played some Heat Wave. Mind-blowing decision, because that's exactly what I'm saying right now. Keep it like right here on the Bianca Burwell Show.
Cafe is staffed with highly qualified and knowledgeable trainers. Ask about our Motivating for Seniors program. We deliver up to 8 internet-ready computers to your community center and train seniors to effectively use the computer and safely surf the internet. Visit us online at www.thewebzoneatl.com or call 770-465-4000 for more information and rates. The Web Zone. Get away and get online.
You are listening to the Bianca Burwell Show on the TheBeatDropsRadio, your top 40 popping on the station. New Beat of Atlanta, and I'm sitting here with my man, Mayor Bell. Yeah. You know, he comes in and graces us with his presence. Himself and Gerald Rose of New Order National Human Rights Organization. And you guys give us our community gut check. You let us know the things that's going on in the streets. And, you know, kind of keep us grounded. Yeah. So that we know the things that's going on that may not necessarily be reported in mainstream media. And I appreciate you guys for that. I just want to let you know.
Well, we definitely appreciate you because, you know, the work that we do in the community, we need other people to hear about what we're doing. And so we appreciate this platform that you're giving us because you never know when there's someone out there who don't know who to call, don't know where to go, but they're suffering each and every day.
Yes.
And if they listen to the Bianca Burwell Show, now they know who to call. You know, because we're a watchdog in the community. You know.
And I appreciate that. I really do because it's a lot that's going on.
Oh, it's a tremendous amount of stuff that's going on.
Y'all, I'm feeling a little special today. Oh, thank you for our viewing audience that is tuning in. If you guys know somebody that wants to watch it and you want to be able to comment, the Q&A box is open. The way that you use it now, because some people still ask, how do I see something? The way that you use it, right at the bottom of your video, it says join the conversation. If you click on that, then you'll be able to type whatever it is that you want to type. Like I said, as long as it's not crazy, we'll acknowledge you. Now, I have, and you brought with you 2 guests.
That's right.
That spoke today at Embossment. Could you tell us a little bit about?
Well, let me tell you about both of these guests. Both guests have spoke at the alternative school of Embossment, and both brought such fire and such inspiration to those youth. Because one of the things that we're trying to do is develop strong leadership over there. You know, we're trying to allow those kids to understand that that's not the end of the road. And when they see an attorney come in, you know, that will give them inspiration because most of the time people only see the attorney when they need the attorney. You know,
Or when you don't want to see them.
when you don't want to see one because you're facing jail time.
That's right.
And so, but when you can see an attorney and you don't need him at that particular time, you know, then you can be inspired to go out and do what he's doing. And then on the other hand, we got Troya.
Yes.
Who's an activist.
All right, she's a strong activist too.
Strong is, I mean, just half of it. Because when she come in and she bring that fire, you know, that's the type of passion that everybody needs to carry that's out there fighting. That's fighting in the streets, that's fighting on the battleground, that's going into the office and telling the opposition, this is what you're going to do. Not this is what you need to do, but this is what you're going to do. You know, and that's the type of fire that Troya brings. You know, that's a leader. And those kids need to, well, when they saw that, I think they were able to connect with that type of leadership. You know, give them a vision, give them a path.
Right.
Both brought that to me.
Now, I learned over the break while we were listening to The Big Payback by James Brown that Attorney Musa used to be a prosecuting attorney.
That's right.
All right, let me turn you up, make sure we hear you. Because, and I want to share this if you don't mind. Last night, everybody who knows about the show knows my daughter's a cosmetologist. No, she stopped it. The hat thing. She's doing something. We'll see what it is. But at any rate, last night, we were watching. I want to make sure I'm saying the name correctly. We were watching Fruit Valley Station. Out of California. All right, I want to make sure that I was pronouncing it correctly. That movie affected me. Now I know it's based upon a true story, and it's about Oscar Grant, I think third, and the whole situation that happened with him. Now that particular case, and I think that was 2009 New Year's Eve, that New Year's Day, that he was shot and killed by the BART police officers there in California, and it didn't turn out like all the other cases that we've been seeing as of late. But I think, all right, let me, because I'm telling you, it affected me. And now someone had mentioned before that I probably should see that movie. If you guys haven't seen that movie, you probably should. Just take a look at it, because there were hundreds of witnesses that had their cell phones, and they were recording the entire incident. Now, what took place is that you had this young gentleman. He's 22 years old. He was 22 years old, Oscar Grant. His mother actually suggested for New Year's Eve that he and his girlfriend take the train to go for New Year's Eve celebrations. That seems harmless, right? You don't have to worry about driving. You might drink a little bit, you know what I mean? So you don't have to worry about that situation. Then be having to see somebody on the other end to, at any rate, turn into no flashing lights, take the train. Okay, so they did do that. They took the train. And on their way back home, there was a fight that broke out on the train. There was an individual that he encountered that was incarcerated with him in the past. And he recognized him after a lady said, "Hey, Oscar," a lady that he had helped at his former place of employment. And he's like, "Oscar Grant?" Immediately he swings on him. The fight breaks out. Not the bus, but the train stops. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling for you. The train stops. Okay. Now, the fight ensues. It gets broken up. They say, okay, the police are on their way. Now, they told everybody who was involved with the fight to get off the train. All of them were not so willing to get off the train, that's for sure. And that's reasonable. Just saying. All right, so they all get off of the train. Well, they got pulled off the train, to be more exact. And they were slamming them on the ground, asked no questions about what happened. And now this is a clean show, it's family friendly, but I have to say what the officer called Oscar. So I don't need no calls, all right? And it was recorded. Several people were able to capture the audio, but it was a white officer, and Oscar, of course, is Black American. But at any rate, and he called him a bitch ass nigga twice. They cuffed him, had him on his stomach, right? And then the officer shot him in the back. And he was like, you shot me. Everybody that's watching that was like, oh my God. Now they're trying to make the train go. They're trying to push all the people in and like, get the train going, get the train. But it already had been captured by so many video cameras. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about it at this point. Okay? They eventually called the paramedics in. He ended up passing away about 9:30 in the morning. They had to remove his lung. He had gone through a series of blood transfusions. And it just was absolutely crazy. Now, the reason why people were up in arms about that, it's not that the officer was not, what's the word I want to use? It's not that he wasn't arrested. He was. Okay? He quit his job. It's not like they fired him. They put him on paid administrative leave initially. But where people were up in arms is his sentencing. He was sentenced to 2 years, but only served 11 months. And the prosecuting attorney was basically justifying his actions. And we're seeing that quite a bit. Because after I watched that movie, I went on YouTube to watch the actual videos because they are people uploading them of that entire incident. And that affected me.
You know, one thing that I have a question.
Yes.
And this question actually goes for Musa. Can the family request a special prosecutor attorney? Because the one that the city, the county, or whoever might use, you know, it appears that that's not working out for us, anybody. So can they request one to be brought in or moved to a different area?
Well, bringing in the special prosecutor happens pretty rarely. In these circumstances, usually it's a very smart elected official, district attorney, who will think to themselves, you know what, I have too much vested in this. I need to kind of back off. I'm going to call somebody from a different county or ask the governor to appoint a special prosecutor, and then they'll step in the back. They'll just have that case removed completely from their jurisdiction as far as prosecuting the case. It'll still stay in the same area. It'll still have the same jurors. It'll still stay in the same county per se. But as far as a special prosecutor, this is something that an elected official should on their own should think about prior to doing that. For example, let's take Ferguson. You know, the smartest thing that you could do is to just say, as the prosecuting attorney, I'm going to go ahead and just bring in a different prosecutor from another county, somebody that has no vested interest, doesn't work with the city, city manager, any of these people, police chief, whatever, and let them conduct the investigation. And that doesn't happen as often as you think. I think that it doesn't happen enough. And you can't request a special prosecutor, but what families can do is, and it costs a lot of money, and that's why they don't do it. They hire their own investigators, they hire their own lawyers, they put together their own case and present it. And if they can't present it to the correct officials, then you expose them by presenting it in the court of public opinion.
You know, Bianca, and this is where I think a lot of civil rights people miss the steps, because, you know, just like you just discussed, you know, that's a step that could be taken. But if you don't know to tell the family that, then that whole step is missed.
Well, the family doesn't know to ask.
That the family doesn't know to ask.
Many people won't know. You know, I remember on the bar exam, the question about a special prosecutor, and I had no idea what that meant as coming right out of law school. Now, practically speaking, you know exactly what it means, exactly what it is, and what it's for.
And actually, in DeKalb County, our U.S. Congressman actually has started a petition, and what they're working on is making it mandatory for all cases where a police officer kills someone to have to be tried by a special prosecutor. What Al Sharpton and the Brown family are trying to do is to make it to where they actually expand the jurisdiction of what federal courts can come into and look into, because there is a separation between what state police officers can do and what federal police officers can do. And so we're just kind of thinking that we need to work to attack this whole policing issue from as many angles as possible. So we're urging people, if you see a petition about reforming anything with police and police on it, there's another petition out right now that's asking President Obama to actually enact by executive order a mandate to make sure that all police officers who kill someone in the line of duty, that they are prosecuted and by trial, regardless of if it's a police chase, a chokehold, a gunshot, whatever, that he makes it mandatory for them to do that. Now, some people are saying, well, that's overstepping, but at some point, the federal government is going to have to come in and do things by executive order, because we certainly won't get anything done in the Senate or in Congress, because the immigration bill passed a year and a half ago, and it's still sitting there. So that's what we're thinking. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
These grand juries, can you please define for us what the grand jury, how it's made up, and what its principal job is supposed to be?
The grand jury is supposed to determine whether or not there is enough probable cause to bring formal charges. I mean, these formal charges are no different than just an accusation. You know, I walk out of here and I come back and my sunglasses are gone, and I look at you and say, Bianca, you took my sunglasses. That's an accusation. Now, it's the same circumstance with the grand jury. Grand juries take information that they receive and they determine whether or not there's probable cause to accuse somebody of whatever crime they're being accused of. I presented to a grand jury, I don't know how many times, hundreds of times, when I was a prosecutor in DeKalb County years ago. But you know, one of the lawyers I look up to the most and probably respect the most in the state was explaining it to me about how the grand jury system is something that we've adopted from European history. We've had it for many years, and ironically enough, Europe doesn't use the grand jury system anymore.
They don't use it, but we do, and we adopted it from them.
And the grand jury just ain't so grand anymore.
It's like
I have
a scapegoat.
Okay, it's not that I haven't served on the jury before. I have. So I'm familiar with that process. I'm not familiar with as far as a grand jury. I don't imagine it being too much different.
It's a lot different.
Okay, so
It's
how
completely different. The grand jury is designed to bring charges against somebody. It's not designed not to bring charges against somebody.
Gotcha.
A no bill means that the case that the grand jury found not enough evidence to present. And a true bill means that they found enough and they're going to go ahead and bring the charges. Now, these grand jury presentations don't take long, and it doesn't take much. I mean, the joke is you can indict a ham sandwich.
I've heard that.
And frankly, it's not even really a joke. You could probably do it, you know. But you know, you come in there, you bring in the witness. Usually, it's a single witness. They talk about what they observed. You know, I was at the scene after reports of shots fired. I arrived. I saw a dozen people who pointed in the direction of somebody. I went there and I found somebody hiding in the bushes, and 2 feet next to him I saw a gun. So who shot up the place? You leave that in the grand. Is it possible that a crime was committed? Yeah. Is it possible that this guy that they found with 12 people pointing at him committed the crime? Yeah. It's that simple.
Do they have are there specific instructions that are given? Because the people that you're dealing with, it's not like they're attorneys. They don't have a criminal justice background or have gone to school for something like that. So are they completely dependent upon the instruction that's given to them by whom?
Typically, it's by the elected district attorney that will give them the instructions. Once a grand jury is sworn in, it'll be sworn in by a superior court judge as well, and they'll probably receive instructions from both as far as what their duties are to determine whether or not there's probable cause to bring formal charges. But the key that I was telling you before is a grand jury is not designed not to bring charges. Okay?
They're designed to bring charges.
Right.
Right.
And many times you'll find an elected official will use the grand jury, just like you said, as a scapegoat. So they'll go in, and the more information you present and the way you slant it, and I think the Brown family attorney said it very well in one of his interviews that I saw. You can read the transcript, but this is a secret proceeding. You can't hear the tone and inflection of the voice of the district attorney who's presenting the case. You can't see the facial expressions of the individual when they show the evidence. You can't see them shrugging their shoulders, smiling, laughing. None of these things that naturally affect people and the way that they think about a certain situation. None of those things are present in a blank piece of paper that just has writing on it with words. You don't know, when he says, that's really good evidence, for example, you don't know if he said, oh, that's really good evidence. Or if he said, this is the evidence you need to hang your hat on. One of those two things. So to see a lack of indictment in these cases, the two that have made the most public news to me, it was surprising that there was no indictment.
And even like Nancy Grace, who said she was a prosecutor for over 20 years.
I didn't know that about Nancy. I don't follow her that I didn't know she was.
Here in Fulton County, too.
Really?
Yeah, she was
I learned something today.
But she said she never got a no bill back because it's
Not
that
ever.
easy. You literally, like Musa said, you almost really can't indict a ham sandwich. And so she was saying, even if I didn't think it was racist, I would think it was something really weird going on because it's too easy to get an indictment if you are worth your salt at all.
I've never gotten the no bill back. I mean,
Can people kind of understand why there's a section of society that's really, really pissed?
No, and I think because a lot of white people really have the privilege to not have to look at it that way. They have the privilege from benefiting from just being white with the system built around them naturally, that they don't have to look beyond, they don't have to use compassion. And I don't want to call it common sense, because common sense really is not common, but they don't have to alter their perspective at all. They really can have tunnel vision, and it benefits them, or it benefits whomever, and it makes them not have to think that maybe this really is bad. But yeah, it's just,
I just, okay. I got a lot on my mind. I really do. And what I'm trying to, I guess, center on is that there seems to be, well, I could be completely wrong, so please correct me. That's why I'm glad you're here. There just seems to be a wonderful relationship between either the district attorney, district attorney, prosecuting attorney, and the police department. Or in some cases, it kind of appears, I don't know this for sure, I'm saying this live, I don't know this for sure, but it appears that there is some information that's purposely being withheld so that the grand jury will go a certain way. Now, I say that to say this. In Ohio recently, there was a shooting of I think he was a 22-year-old guy too, gone into Walmart, and he and his girlfriend, I just was looking at this morning, all right? Okay. And as of 3 hours ago, the family of Ohio shot man killed in Walmart, sues the company and the police. All right, that's just coming across. Okay, so he went into the Walmart with his girlfriend, right? She goes to one part of Walmart, he goes to another. As he's walking down the aisle, he's talking on the phone to his child's mother. As he's walking through the aisle talking, he picks up a toy. I don't know if it was a toy pellet gun, toy, whatever it was a toy gun. And as he's walking through the aisles, there's a gentleman, a white gentleman, who became scared.
no, he was actually in the gun section,
He was in the gun section.
looking at guns
Okay.
as an adult
All
with
right.
a valid ID with no felonies or misdemeanors.
She said, you better get him. So, so the gentleman calls 911. I heard the 911. Have you had a chance to
I
hear
didn't
it?
get a call.
Okay. Doggone it. I forgot to send that soundbite to myself. I'm going to try to play that definitely before you. Okay, so he calls, he identifies himself as an ex-Marine, which proved to be false. He was kicked out because he failed to he didn't pass a certain point because they found out that he had a heart condition. Can't be in the Marine Corps with that. Next thing is that he says that this gentleman was taking the gun and pointing it at kids and women. That's what he said. He's pointing the gun at people and he's pointing at kids. So you hear this call. What does the 911 operator do? Go to dispatch. What does he have on? Where is he? Now, when the police come in, and I'm from Ohio, so I know how Ohio is, and I can say what I'm saying because it's just not friendly to those of Dr. Hugh.
Your experiences.
Yes.
That's right.
So at any rate, from the time that the police entered into Walmart, they timed it. They had the camera on him and the camera, facing when the police entered. If you guys can kind of figure what I'm saying. And he had zero opportunity to respond to anything that they said. They came in, pop, pop, he was down. It was literally, you guys can watch, they finally released it. Now, this is what I'm saying. The grand jury was not permitted to see the video. They did not, they said they wanted to wait to release the video because they didn't want anybody to have a preconceived thought about what took place. I got a problem with that.
Yeah, and you should. And I think we should continue to be incensed. And I think we should continue to really make sure that we really help other people to understand the perspective from whence we speak, because we don't have the opportunity to just go in Walmart and just chill all the time. We do have to look over our shoulder and be cautious about what's said and what's not said, because right here in Atlanta at Bond City train station, we had our own Fruitvale. And his name was Jotavius Stafford, and that was in 2012 in October. And they shot him in the back and said that it was a fight and he was reaching in the bushes. No, he wasn't. Now he had a few misdemeanors because he was a kid. He was 19 and he was just stupid, like most 19-year-olds of every ethnic background, like they most are, period. But he, like so many other people, he didn't have a chance to say anything. He just was killed. And again, that police officer, he was on administrative leave for a year, and then he eventually quit. He felt like he was being harassed, but he didn't get prosecuted either. And what we try to get people to understand is that this is our reality. Some people can hear about it on TV, and it's occasional. But a lot of Black folks live this every day. So no, we don't want to hear a lot of all that the other extra stuff, because this is our everyday experience. Just like you wake up and you see the sun, we wake up and we understand that we are harassed. This is our life daily. So a lot of people are saying, I'm tired of hearing about racism. Well, I'm tired of living it. Get it together. That's how we feel.
Who I'm talking about is John Crawford. He was 22 years old. That was the Beaver Creek Walmart in the suburb of southern Ohio. That's by Dayton, Ohio, for you guys that may not be sure exactly where that lies. And this took place also around the time of the Michael Brown situation. It took place around the self-same time that took place. And it just, I don't know, I'm just trying to understand why that video would have been held purposely, because what he was describing, and then later on, the gentleman that called 911, he recanted. He said, well, he wasn't pointing at people. He that didn't happen.
Well, what? Bianca, let me ask Musa this.
Yes.
In a grand jury here, only the prosecutor is presenting the case.
That's right.
You don't have another attorney over here arguing for the deceased.
That's right.
And that's a problem.
Well, there are some states that allow you to testify, that allow defendants to testify in the grand jury, like I'm licensed in New York as well, and their proceedings are a little bit different than they are here. But here, only the prosecutor is brought in. Only a witness from the prosecution is brought in. Typically, the investigator who's investigating the case from the DA's office, or a police officer who made the initial arrest. And
so everything is in favor of the prosecutor.
It really is. I mean, you control what
It really is.
You control the outcome of what's going to happen there. You control the outcome of true bill or no bill, and that's really what it is with regard to the grand jury system.
Oh my goodness, y'all! I'm sorry, but I just had I have stuff coming up all the time. This is 19 minutes ago. Okay. Key witness in Michael Brown case may not have actually seen him die, report says. 19 minutes ago. Are y'all? I'm just saying.
May not have seen Michael Brown die?
The key witness?
The key witness in Michael Brown case may not have actually seen him die. That's what the report says. And I'm going to just go ahead and, because it's just coming up, I hadn't had an opportunity to kind of blaze through it. A new report from the Smoking Gun calls into question the testimony and character of a grand jury witness who corroborated police officer Darren Wilson's account of shooting Michael Brown. The Smoking Gun confirmed that Sandra McElroy, a 45-year-old St. Louis resident who has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, is witness 40, the person whose testimony aligned with Wilson's account of how he killed Brown, an unarmed Black teenager in Ferguson, Missouri, in August. In a journal entry written just after the altercation, McElroy wrote that Brown charged at Wilson like a football player, head down. McElroy's description of events contradicted testimony from Dorian Johnson and other witnesses who said that Brown had his hands up before Wilson shot and killed him. But the Smoking Gun reported that McElroy changed her story about why she was in Ferguson, has a history of making racist comments online, and once inserted herself into another case by lying to police. The outlet also said McElroy was nowhere near Campfield Drive on the Saturday afternoon Brown was shot to death. I got a problem with that.
Well, you should. I mean, the fact of the matter is this.
19 minutes ago, people.
Let me tell you this. Without making a decision, speaking theoretically, and I'm of color, myself. I've grown up here in the States, born and raised, but I'm Palestinian of descent. So when I go overseas, I see what it's like to live under occupation and to live under military occupation, you know, which is what, when I looked at Ferguson, it's what it looked like. What, you know, it looked like being under military occupation. And, you know, Darren Wilson, here's the thing. Looking at it theoretically, as an attorney, maybe he's guilty, maybe he's not guilty. But you got to indict him and let the jury decide.
Right.
And that's really the circumstance here, is when you usurp the jury system and you pull the rug underneath, you know, the fundamental system that we have, it's very difficult. So do I think that by seeing what I've seen, I can adjudicate guilt? Absolutely not. Was he guilty of murdering him? I don't know. Should there have been a trial to determine that? Should all the evidence have been put out there? Should he have had to rebut the evidence? Should the experts have testified in front of 12 citizens from that community? Absolutely. That's how I feel. I feel the same way in Brooklyn. I feel the same way in Ferguson. When you see these things, I think that it really needs to be decided by a jury. And in order to get a no bill of prosecution, you really have to try hard to make sure that the grand juries don't indict.
Wow. On that case, we're gonna take a quick break because I just need to inhale the next. We'll be right back. The Bianca Burwell Show, the makings of you, Curtis Mayfield. We'll be back after this.
The makings of you. I don't think I've heard this before. The makings of you.
It's full of statistics. Thing is, I should have dropped out of school because of myself. But I did. Because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds.
Anyways, like I was saying, we hide.
It's time that students know that
We hide our corruption here in the States very well. It's openly corrupt when you go overseas.
Right.
You go to other countries.
They don't hide nothing. Say like this is what it is.
Here we hide our corruption.
Mhm.
You know, our corruption is under the guise of the law on many occasions. And it's just, you know, I'd much rather be in a place where I can just pull out a 20 and grease a cow and walk away from it than having to play this, you know, where it's openly corrupt. You almost have respect. Sorry.
You are listening to the Bianca Burwell Show on the TheBeatDropsRadio, your top 45 and R&B station, Newbie in Atlanta, where I have Mayor Bill of the New Order National Human Rights Organization in here to my left,
That's right.
and I have former prosecuting attorney, attorney.
Musa Ghanayem is my name. Now I have my own firm,
Oh, cool.
Ghanayem and Ryerson. That's myself and my law partner, Ravi Ryerson. We have a firm right in the North Druid Hills area, you know, near where Buckhead is, that area there. Brookhaven is where our office is.
That's where you are. You have a
And
website?
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
What's your website?
It's the letter GR, atlantalaw.com, all one word, like Ghanayem and Ryerson, atlantalaw.com.
Cool.
So, yeah, we've had that practice here for a couple of years. I've been back from New York for about 4 years. I have an office up there as well.
Oh, really? What part of New York?
I practiced in Suffolk County, which is
I've heard of something, but I'm not sure.
it's further out on Long Island.
Okay.
But I did practice in both Long Island counties and the 5 boroughs as well. I practiced all over.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cool.
and criminal defense is what I've been doing for over the last decade now.
Mm. In old bad Troya. That's right. We got her in the building too. Just causing problems. Before we went to the break, I read something that came across the little ticker here about the key witness, and I remember. Now, those of you all who listen to me know that I listen to Rush Limbaugh on a regular basis because I must know what it is that he's saying. And
Do you see him as anything other than an entertainer? When you
he
listen
is
to him?
entertainment to me.
He is entertainment.
He is entertainment to me.
90% of what comes out of his mouth is such garbage, you can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
You
But you
know?
know what's so interesting is that you see it taken as law, though. Even some of his people that call in, they are like staunch. They believe everything that man says.
You know, I've read his books. I've listened to him. I thought he was actually a decent baseball announcer because he was originally a baseball announcer for the Kansas City Royals, I believe.
Really?
That's how he started his career.
That's how he started?
Yeah.
He's been doing what he's doing right now for about 20 plus years, I think.
Yeah,
But he started off as a
he was the announcer for the Kansas City Royals, baseball announcer before he had any substance. And
I learned
then
a couple things today.
I think when they repealed the Fairness Doctrine in the late 80s, that's when you saw a lot of those shows that came up. You had a lot of shows that, because you used to have to give equal amount of time to one side as you did the other side. And now you can have your, diametrically opposed news networks, one
Yes.
ultra conservative and one ultra liberal,
Right.
and you don't have to give the same person the same amount of time like you used to in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That's when those radio shows started becoming a lot more popular.
Mm.
Especially Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. He has his Rush Revere books that he sells, and the Limbaugh letter, and just all kinds of stuff that people are like, "We love you, Rush," and I'm like, "Really?"
Well, you know what Adolf Hitler said. If you tell a lie long enough, everybody will believe
Is that right?
it. What he said.
Oh my goodness.
It worked for him.
Now, the reason why I brought up Rush Limbaugh is because I remember him emphatically, day after day after day, talking about this particular key witness that corroborated Officer Darren Wilson. I mean, constantly. He was like, "There's a witness who corroborated. They want to silence her." I mean, he was going off on his regular rants.
Yeah,
But I've heard nothing now. And I'm going to listen specifically to see
he got to say.
if he says anything about it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people who are there just were saying that this lady is not somebody that's uncommon to the area, to people who know her, and so they were saying, yeah, that lady's crazy. Hey, you can't listen to anything she says. But you know, I kind of felt like she was discredited anyway after it came out that she was bipolar. Now, that's not to say that people who have a mental illness shouldn't ever be listened to or be credible or be believed, but because she did have this history of being a known racist, we have to believe that her perspective will be just a little bit off. The thing that really gets me is that I do believe that they used her to kind of further validate the dominant narrative again, that Black people really are wild, they crazy, and they violent. And so I think they were using her to justify that, and it was wrong.
But it's too many. Like, for instance, Sean Hannity, he talked about this farmer that had all this land and folks were getting on him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And you know, come to find out, racist dude, now all of a sudden Hannity has to backtrack and try to distance himself from this individual because he didn't want to pay for this land and his cows was grazing on for free. First, it was a whole big, you know, campaign. Then when you found out, you know, as many, because matter of fact, this farmer said he didn't know if Black people were better now or if they were better being slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, Hannity had to backtrack from that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, even the fact that he's supporting him, the guy that you're talking about, I know exactly the circumstance. I believe he considers himself a sovereign citizen.
Yes.
Or- Now, keep in mind that sovereign citizens are considered a domestic terrorist group by.
Really? I'm
Yes.
learning all kinds of stuff.
So
Yeah, the FBI list.
they are on the FBI watch list as a domestic terrorist group. So here you have Sean Hannity sitting there talking about, you know, any number of terrorist organizations around the world and backing a domestic terrorist.
Yes.
Until Fox tells him, hey, you can't do this anymore.
Right.
The ratings are good, but the sponsors are going to leave. You know, you say Black people are better off as slaves.
Right.
You can't agree with that one.
Very interesting stuff, but I'm just wondering, who, when you bring a witness like this one, whose job is it to kind of research that witness to make sure that they're credible?
For the grand jury,
Yes.
nobody. For the grand jury, that's just another witness they hear from.
Sure.
So let's say 10 people heard, and 9 of the 10 people said that what they saw was not legal, what they saw was murder, and she comes in and she says what she saw was different than that. The probable cause standard is so low. The grand jury's got to look at each other and say, did he kill him? Yeah, he killed him. Did he murder him? I don't know. Let a jury decide. You know? We got no choice but to bring a formal accusation and we'll let a jury decide.
And let me ask you another question to Bianca and to the rest of you. For whatever reason, the number 20 is big to me. When we were talking about the Michael Brown case at first, and a lot of people were saying, oh, well, 20 witnesses, and you know, there's something kind of crazy about different people's backgrounds. This were 20 Black witnesses, not including this white lady. But you know, like I said before, to me, the hardest thing it is to do to get people to do is to agree, because I'm from a really big family. It's hard to get people to agree, to have one perspective. So even though they were able to quickly dismantle and to discredit these 20 in this particular case with Michael Brown, but now all of a sudden, when you have 20 people who come forward now and say, you know, I think I was sexually assaulted 20 years ago by Bill Cosby. Now all of them got to be telling the truth. That, if nothing else, just infuriates me, is that. Because I can't understand why people really expect me or just somebody, just because I'm Black, my perspective got to be wrong. So now I'm Black and I didn't see what I know I saw. But somebody else could, just because they have had whatever experience, now is justified. I mean, can you explain that to me, please?
America is schizophrenic. Tragically divided.
Tragically narcissistic. Yeah.
It's very interesting about how people try folks in the court of public opinion, you know, and it depends on the individual and how you want. I call it propaganda all the time. However you want.
White is right, Black is wrong.
However you want people to see someone, whenever you put that image of that individual or that group in media all of the time, eventually becomes ingrained in those that are watching it. to associate if they see you. You know what? I'm sorry, y'all. MSNBC, they did something. And I don't know, what is the name of that comedian who's on Comedy Central?
Jon Stewart.
When he said that he sent 2 people from his staff into this building or place of business, right? He said one of them, black guy, dressed to the T. The other guy, white guy, aftershave, looking bummy, just terrible. He said, guess who they stopped? The black guy.
Every single time.
He said, and I will say this too, because I'm purchasing life insurance. We had a gentleman come over to our home and, talk to us about life insurance. And he was, you just talking and getting to know the individual. What he told us was a white guy, pretty cool. But what he told us was he had forgotten where he parked in the parking lot at Publix. I said Publix because I own this, I can say it. All right, so he said he forgot and he walked out the front door with all of his basket of groceries and no one said a word to him. He didn't, he passed the cashier, y'all, went straight out the door. We can look like we're about to go towards the door. And excuse me, you need anything?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find everything? I looked at my husband and said, but we couldn't have done that at all.
But it's those kind of experiences that I really think that's what white people don't get. That's why we really do talk about racism all the time, because it's all the time. It's at the grocery store, it's at the bank, and then I got to go to the red light, and it's always something.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
I mean, I'm the only one here right now that's not a black American.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Atlanta has a lot of Atlanta itself,
yes.
The metro area. There are a lot of elected black American officials here. And I don't see that they would have treated any situation any different than any white elected official would have treated a lot of situations. What's your take on that?
Well, a lot of the black elected officials here, you have to understand, have been quote unquote educated, or what I really believe is miseducated, in the same institution that was built on making it according to the law that constitutionally you're not even a person. So the white supremacy, all that stuff, that's ingrained into the quote unquote justice system. It's structural. And it's not that a lot of people who are elected officials don't want to help black people. And it's not that they all the time don't even necessarily see injustice, they don't look for injustice. And the other thing it is, that, like Bianca was saying earlier, they really believe the dominant narrative that black people really are bad, because that is what you constantly see. You don't constantly see the hundreds of thousands of African American men who are in college. You don't see the thousands of them who have graduated from college. You don't see the thousands of them who may not have ever gone to college but have decent jobs, who pay taxes, who have never been to jail. Where are these people represented at all in media, on television? The ones who don't play sports. You don't see them. So really, it's kind of like the tree in the Amazon forest. If nobody's there to witness it falling, does it really exist? And because we don't see that.
Larry Bell over there, like, he about to jump out of his chair.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Let you know.
I want to give it to you from a former chief of staff point of view.
We're going to use this whole 5 minutes that we got to. Go ahead before he has
Okay,
to go.
I used to work for Senator Dunn. I was her chief of staff. And she is one of the few that would go all out and fight for black people. I've heard her get on the phone and just chew a police chief out, for something that they have done against black people, and I've heard her do that numerous times, with other officials. So she's one of the ones that will go out and fight. Vincent Ford, he's another one. He'll go out and fight. But then you have when you get past those two, now everybody started, going on the decline. They might say something, but not gonna say enough to get a lot of negative flack. Now, Senator James, she has taken hits after hits after hits, can't raise money because they will not give her money because of what she stands for. If she go out there and make a lot of noise and call this person, that person, okay, now Coca-Cola don't want to fool with her.
That's right.
UPS don't want to fool with her.
It's
You know,
money.
but-
Are you saying this is The support?
It's the support. It's support. Support. They don't want to. Other senators, other state representatives say, well, I'm going to say this, but I ain't going to say that because now, come election time, I'm not going to get enough money. You know, so it's based off of how much money they think they're going to lose. For a lot of them want to say things, but they don't. I look at Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus, you know, up there doing, doing this protest. That's good and dandy. That's making a lot of noise. Yeah, and that's good. But do something, do something. Make a stand with your counterpart. That's what you need to do.
Did that kind of answer your question at all?
It did. I just want to know what your personal feelings of it are. As far as do you get frustrated with?
I do get frustrated because I feel like they make moves depending upon how they feel the masses will accept that, and they don't want to be ostracized, and now they don't have a job. Yes, you went down for the cause, but now
you don't have a job.
You don't have a job, and nobody bring you on.
And not just not a job, you no longer have that voice that you had either.
Yeah.
You no longer have that power that you have either. So,
But realistically, Troya, how much power do they really have?
Doesn't seem like a whole lot.
When you streamline it, are they on TV? Yeah. What power do they really have? Are they able to do anything other than bring a few 100,000 in their community because somebody on the other side said, okay.
I think they do. I think it's the way that you look at it. Like, say, for example, we actually had Friday, we're going to court with a guy who was at home, and he just so happened to be black while he was at home. So the police, no lie, so the police ran in his house. He was there with his child. He was in law school, finishing law school. And the 5 police bum rushed his house and said that we got a report that somebody who with a car that matches the description of yours was speeding through the neighborhood. And he was like, well, I've been here all day. I'm finishing a test online. My son is here. I'm not driving anywhere. Then they literally pulled him out. It was raining. They pulled him out of the house, had him in handcuffs. So his case goes before the court on Friday. Really? Right. So my thing is, in DeKalb County, now most before the officers were white, one was black. But in DeKalb County, they have a unique situation to where they do have everybody that's black. And they really can sit down and come together collectively to say, we have a lot of things systematically that are wrong. Let's look at the system and fix it. Because what's going on is not just individuals making racist decisions all the time, but it's really systematic injustice.
So it's deeper. It's deeper
way
than
deeper.
just racism.
It's way
At
deeper.
this point, you believe it's ingrained where people who honestly believe they're not racist at all have these reactions because it's just the way that it's been for so long.
Absolutely.
There's no way to change that but to agitate. I mean, Frederick Douglass said this. I mean, slavery was never, ever going to go away until you agitate. You got to bring this to the masses. You got to let people see it. You got to let them forget what they've been trained and be retrained in the proper way.
Right.
I just want to say this because I know you told me you had to go.
I do, but there's a couple of things I know you want to talk about, and I'm willing to hang out for a couple minutes longer because I'm really pleased and I'm very, very honored to be here with you.
Thank you.
But just like you said, Frederick Douglass, he said, agitate. He didn't say be violent. He didn't say, start a race riot. He just said bring awareness. If you continue to poke the bear, it's going to wake up eventually.
Right.
People are going to notice.
I have a question.
Sure.
When a person is either pulled over by the police or whatever, do you have to answer all of the questions that they are asking?
Don't say a thing. Give them my business card. It says on the back that that I'm not. I submit to no tests. I submit to nothing. You're better off. It literally says that on the back of my business card. It says I submit to no tests. I'm giving no statements. I don't want to talk to you. I don't have any interest in dealing with you. Contact my lawyer. My lawyer's name's on the other side of this card. So you don't know how many calls I get at 2 o'clock in the morning, from my answering service, being like, "Hey, your client won't talk to me." And then at that point in time, you're better off. And people don't believe this because people think they can talk themselves out of it. So many people talk themselves into a conviction thinking they can talk themselves out of it. Don't say anything. You're better off just keeping your mouth shut, letting them put the cuffs on you, and bonding out the following morning, okay, than you are trying to get into a debate with a police officer. You're better off doing nothing. I do nothing, you know. But if I get pulled over by a police officer, just sit down, you know, have my license right out the window.
You do give the identification.
I immediately take my identification out and I hold it out the window before he even arrives. I roll down my window and I'm holding my ID out prior to him even walking to the car. So as he's getting out of his car, it's out there, just so he knows I got nothing to hide. I got places to go just like he does. So let's get this over with quick. He asks me for the information, I give it to him. Then I ask him first thing, can you please tell me what I did wrong? Okay. And if they don't respond, just make sure you let them know. I'm glad I'm recording this on my cell phone, and I know that you're not going to tell me, so I just shut my mouth at that point. If they come back, did you know that you made a illegal? Did you know that you did this? Did you know that you did that? And frankly, most of the time, I find that the gesture of just holding my ID out that window when they come up is completely different. They are despite the race of the police officer. I think first of all, they're not on edge, afraid for their safety. And second of all, they're thinking, okay, this guy's going to cooperate. You know, I'm not going to be sitting here yelling back and forth at some guy in the car. Because if they pull you over and you're doing 90 in a 45, you deserve to be pulled over. You know what I mean? But if they pull you over because you're my color skin or darker and you're driving around in Alpharetta, then that's a problem. So, you know, you see what I'm saying?
Or the light over your driver's plate, your license plate is out.
That's a good one to get you for.
I got pulled over for that.
That's a good one to get you.
My husband got pulled over for that, you know, during the daytime.
That's a good, you'll find, and I can tell you from my experience, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I find that usually people that I've represented that happens are usually either college students or black folks, because they're trying to find a reason to search that car to find something. And college students always have weed in their car, it seems like, because if they didn't, I'd be out of business. And
they got to be in the right state. Be in the right state with a medical prescription.
And you know, we have a case right now where somebody got pulled over. Something was found in his car. He was a black man in his 50s, and the reason he was pulled over was because one of the lights on his Cadillac, there are two lights that flash on.
Right.
One of them wasn't working.
That's crazy.
It's like, how are you supposed to know
That's crazy.
that something? I mean, I'm not driving behind myself, but you know, if it's daylight, I'm figuring, you know, I should be okay, you know. But goodness, my daughter was with me, and my daughter was 16 at the time. She's 17 now, and you know, the police officer, I mean, he flew up behind me. I'm driving speeding, and I make sure I put on my right blinker, legal lane change, because I wasn't far from home. I was like, if I can just get a few more blocks, I'm cool. And you know, when I moved over, it's like if I tapped the brakes, he would have ran into me. He was so close.
Sure.
He turned the lights on, and so I said, I told my daughter, call your dad and let him know I'm being pulled over. I'm at the end of the street because we made it to the subdivision. And, you know, I was like, okay, I know I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not understanding what the issue is. You know, I got my ID out or whatever and rolled the window down. And he asked for, you know, my license and all this stuff. And I said, well, I live right here. So he goes back, takes forever. I'm seeing my husband walk up the street and I'm like, please don't come any closer. Just stay over there. We don't need any problems. And when he came back, he sounded like he was upset. Well, your light over your license plate was out. And he gave me the card, my ID bag. I was like, was that a problem? I mean, I know my license is good. I know my insurance is up to date. I don't have any convictions. I'm not on probation, you know?
Right.
And he said, well, who is that? I said, this is my daughter. My daughter's sitting there, her eyes are this big, like, what in the what? You know what I mean? You know, same thing with my husband. He got pulled over for the exact same thing in the exact same neighborhood. I was like, this is not This is not
DWB. It's dangerous.
I want to make sure I ask all the questions. Okay, so you answer my question as far as do you have to,
Say
answer
anything
any
or
questions?
answer
So I
anything.
don't have to answer any questions.
As long as you provide them with identification,
Identification.
you don't have to answer
don't
any
have to
questions.
answer-
Anything you say can and will be used against you from that point forward. You know,
I mean that.
I mean, they mean it. It is exactly what it means. They'll take your words and they will use them against you. And if they can't use them against you, they'll twist it.
What advice do you give to those that are listening to you right now, those that may be calling you in the future? What's the best thing that we can do? How can we conduct ourselves with law enforcement?
Well, I think one thing is to make sure that you know, despite the fact they might not initially give you respect, if you treat them with respect and a educated response, you're immediately going to throw somebody off guard who's expecting to have somebody come up to them and act in a manner that they're predisposed to thinking that person is supposed to act.
Mm-hmm.
I know that every time, they look at me and I say my name is Musa Ghanayem, I can tell jurors when I stand up in front of the jury and I start doing a voir dire and I get up and I say, hey, y'all, how are you? My name is Musa Ghanayem. I'm from Ghanayem and Ryerson. They look at me like I got three eyes. Like, wait, guys, look, he's brown and he looks like the guys on TV that were bombing, but he speaks normal like us. You know what I mean? And as soon as they have that look, you can almost see it in their eyes. The second that they're just thrown off guard, and I think that's common. And that's the easiest way to deal with things is in an intellectual manner. It's not easy for everybody to do because it's hard for people to hide their emotions, especially when they are constantly bombarded with this. At some point somebody's going to snap and say something that's probably not the right thing to say. I thankfully don't have those issues. I don't know why I don't have those issues. Maybe the tint on my car is too dark for them to tell what color I am. But I don't know. But I see it so frequently, and my initial response is you have to be careful. It's almost as if somebody has to train young children of color how to interact with law enforcement.
In all honesty, that needs to happen. Now, there's some things that I know I share with my son, and I know other mothers, share with their sons. I'm talking about Black Americans share with their sons because I want to see him come home. And I want to see him come home. So it's certain things that you cannot wear. I'm sorry, but I know that if you wear this dark colored hoodie, they don't see a 14-year-old, walking up the street. They don't know you like that. They don't know you as the playful, he got jokes all the time. They don't know that.
Right.
They see you immediately as a threat, and you definitely not a 14-year-old. You're a man.
And how awful is it that I say that there almost has to be a training for a way to interact with officers? Because that's not the fault of the child. That's not the fault of them. That's the fault of the authority. And when that's what's causing the conflict. Okay, so you have to train somebody to react to how somebody else is predisposed to react to them.
Right.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but we have to do it.
We
have to do it. With my brothers, they went through quite a bit. Even with me as the little sister, we're all 5 years apart. My brothers and I, and seeing some of the things that my older brother went through prior to getting into the military. It's just all kinds of stuff that the constant pulling over, the constant harassment, the constant assuming that you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. And even when I was in college at Kentucky State University, I purposely we were protesting some stuff. But actually, we were protesting tuition being raised. And I was like, doggone it, I'm tired of it. and I was out there, and I knew my mom would have been so upset had she seen that I'm from Ohio, we were in Kentucky. And I had a bandana scarf, around my head because I needed my perm done. Okay, so I knew that the cameras were going to come to me.
You had a Dixie one on you. You were not wearing one of the Dixie flags.
I knew. I knew that they were going to come over to me, and the way that I spoke is the way that I'm speaking right now in the shop, where we are on the college campus. How about that?
Yeah.
You know, and some of the people that know my mom from Bible study, I saw your child on TV. You know, but to be, it's always, and I'm telling my son constantly, you cannot act the way in which people believe that you're going to act.
Mm.
If you're hanging with individuals, I cannot stand the pants sagging, don't do that here because you're already categorized.
That's it.
You know, and people already see you, and you can't do that. There was an individual that was on recently that said that they don't buy their children tennis shoes, they don't buy their children hoodies, they buy khakis, they buy those vests, sweater vests or whatever, you know, because they want to see their sons come home.
Hey, I mean, you get two 10-year-old twin girls that you like to dress the same because it's cute, and here we call it gang activity because they're dressed the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, it's not, it's gonna sound so cliche, but it's a different world than we portray it to the rest of the world.
Yeah, it really is. I want to make sure that y'all got y'all's questions asked, and I'm like, if you have, I'm gonna ask you to give all these contact information. Maribel?
Yeah, I think I've asked all the questions. Yeah.
Old bad Troya?
I'm gonna call him and that's my question.
We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
I give it time.
It's really a pleasure to be here. It's really a pleasure to be here.
And to be able to ask you, you know, the questions that's been on my mind to somebody who's in a position to answer it, you know, from experience, education, and also the fact that you're doing it it's a practical application. You've been doing it constantly. And, you know, and I appreciate that. So can you give everybody your contact information while my hat is fixed?
Sure. My name is Musa Ghanayem. My partner at Ghanayem and Ryerson. It's located at 1936 North Druid Hills Road. And our phone number is 404-561-0202. We handle primarily criminal defense, but we do some other work as well. All our consultations are free, and we're happy to help. We do everything we can to help.
I appreciate it.
And if you want to email me, it's musa@gr@lanolaw.com.
Yeah.
And you'll get a response.
We appreciate you.
My
Gotta
pleasure.
give you the applause, right? Yeah, good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure.
Indeed. You guys keep it like right here. We'll be right back. Mama used to say, Junior, keep it like right here on the Bianca Burwell Show. You remember that? Yeah, what you know about that? Keep it like.
I don't intend to stick with what.
I'm sorry, people that's watching that y'all couldn't hear a few minutes ago. But yeah, that's that Kindred song. This is your girl, Bianca Burwell, on TheBeatDropsRadio.com. And we had the honor and the privilege to be able to ask someone who was in that position. And I appreciate you bringing.
Wonderful.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for having him. He was excellent.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's good to have a legal mind
yeah,
to explain some of this stuff
that's going on.
that's going on.
And also to let us know about our rights too, because I need several of his cards. I do not answer any questions. I do not submit to any searches. I do not, because I briefly seen that before, but I wanted to get from him the confirmation that I don't have to answer any questions.
Yeah. And you know, but I think it was key that he put in that hand the ID out the window. Because if you just go to refusing stuff, they might just open that door and just drag you out.
That's right.
And then once they drag you out, then it's up in the air whether they're gonna shoot you or because they ain't beating you no more. It seemed like they just shoot.
No, shoot first.
Yeah. You know, so if Rodney King was, you know, now he'll be dead.
Yeah, they were shot.
They wouldn't beat him.
And you know what? I really appreciate what Musa said because I have not that y'all have noticed this at all, but I have just a little bit over temper. I'll just snap in a minute. But several times I was pulled over by the police. The two times when I was not doing anything when I was pulled over, I just happened to be driving in one of those neighborhoods, like you said, where I was just happened to be black and they thought I shouldn't be there. And you know, I was just rude and I was nasty, and I ended up staying there way longer than I really had to, even though they let me go because they just really didn't have anything on me. I have a squeaky clean record. And the one time I was pulled over by a white cop downtown Atlanta, right close to the heart of the city. I was speeding. I was my improper lane change. Didn't have on a seatbelt. Just all kind of wrong. And I didn't get a ticket. Because when he walked up to my car, the first thing I did was apologize. I said, "Officer, I am so sorry that I made you have to put your lights on today. And I know I was wrong." And he was like, "Yeah, you were real wrong." And then I already, like Musa said, I already had my license out in my registration. And I handed it to him while I was speaking to him as I was apologizing. And he was like, "Well, where are you going? Why are you in such a hurry?" And I said, "My mom had a heart attack, and I actually am driving back from Missouri. It's a long drive, and I was trying to get back to the other side of downtown to my house before rush hour hit because I'm exhausted. I've been driving 12 hours. My daughter's in the back seat lying down." He was like, "You got somebody in the back seat?" Her seatbelt not on either. But you know, and we talked, and he asked me where in Missouri I was coming from, and I told him. He was like, "Oh, Fallon. I know Old Fallon. Yeah, I used to drive through there." So it just ended up being a pleasant situation. He was like, "Just go home and don't be doing all of that." And then that was it, you know.
Right.
But it really is a lot of your approach.
What do y'all think about today's show?
I think it was good.
I had to throw that out there.
It was awesome.
I was thinking that this is pretty.
It was a good show. It was.
You know, can you briefly tell us what's happening with New Order right now?
Well, right now, you know, we're always on top of different issues that's coming down. We actually, me and the chief of staff had to review a case today, and that we decided actually that it wasn't going to, you know, be in our best interest to take on the case. But if anybody have a case, let me give you the 800 number, 1-800-346-5138. 1-800-346-5138, because, like I said, we are the watchdog of the community. And not only are we doing civil rights, but when we go over there to Ombudsman, or trying to school, developing leaders, you know, trying to make sure that our youth is on the right path. Because
That's really good.
if they are the future, we want to make sure that they are the best of the best. You know, if I can say, use the verbiage that W.B. Du Bois, the talented 10. That's what we need, and that's what we're trying to develop. The talented 10. You know, so we're out there doing our best. Gerald Rose is on vacation right now, so he kind of left me in charge.
He sent me a message quick. Yes, Mark Bell will be filling in for me. I will be gone for about 30 days.
Yeah, he's gone for 30 days. You know, I told him, I said he's the engineer of the train. I'm just the bag up until he get back. You know, but John Drummond, the chief of staff, is doing a wonderful job. Sean Swearington, vice president, doing a wonderful job. And we just have a host of people. That's a tight knit team that's really working. Our spokesperson, Stacy, she's doing a wonderful job. Faith, which is our marketing person, doing an excellent job. I mean, it just go on and on and on. You know,
Miss Ethel, who graduated from the same high school as me.
Ethel is always doing an awesome job. You know, Ethel is famous. You know that, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, she's famous, and so you know, she's doing a wonderful job. And you know, I always have to say, man, you know, Jerry Rose got his hands full dealing with all these different personalities, because we all can be a handful, you know.
Sure.
And so,
but you guys have a goal.
We have a goal, one mission, one goal, one heartbeat, and don't be rocks, just laying around.
I keep telling him he should put that on the shirt.
I love it.
You understand?
You gotta have to pay
on the back.
You gotta pay Jesse Jackson for that rocks just laying around.
Exactly.
Put that on the shirt right there. What are some of the things that you've been seeing, Troya, that you can share with our audience before we get out of here?
Just stay safe and stay vocal. I think the main thing is, if you see a petition come across your Facebook page or your Twitter or your Instagram about whatever, please sign it. We need you to be more than just a Facebook activist. We need you to be more than just a Twitter activist. We really need you to put your name on the dotted line, sign and say that you really think this stuff is wrong. And because even with Michael Brown, his parents only have 100,000 something signatures on their petition.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh man, we gotta do something about that. I didn't know that. We gotta put that on our Facebook fan page and start pushing that thing out there.
Yeah, they need some support. And Hank Johnson's the same thing. He only has, and he's a congressman of from here.
I know Hank.
He only has like 200 people that signed his. So, you know, and the other one has like 45. So, but we need you to sign it. Don't just say that you with it. Be with it for real, because we got to fight this giant called racism from every angle possible. We can't be rocks just laying around. We got to put these rocks together collectively and throw them.
Well, I'll tell you, it's just been phenomenal to me, and just looking at these different situations that, you know, one after another, and these are things that we're talking about, the publicized ones, but there are hundreds of that aren't publicized. That's that don't get the media attention, you know, that don't pull, you know, CNN or MSNBC or even Fox, because Fox is looking to spend it whatever kind of way that they want to. You know, has anyone ever heard Fox talk about a retraction besides Sean Hannity when he got egg on his face about the
No, they don't retract anything.
It's just
not to my knowledge.
I was just wondering that, you know, do they ever backtrack and say, you know what, we were wrong?
Because their listeners support everything that they say.
I just have a problem with when you are completely in 100% support of one view without even considering that there might be another side to that. Like old girl that was on The View that left and went to Fox. Whoopi used to
go at it all the time.
Get into it because she just had that one point of view, that one conservative point of view.
Yeah.
So at that point, you have to say, well, are they stupid?
I guess so. And I want to mention this too about Bill Cosby, you know, because we've got another supermodel, if you will. What's her name?
Beverly Johnson.
Beverly Johnson. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole, I read what the story said. I didn't get a chance to watch the video like I wanted to prior to the show starting. But Whoopi has, and so has Jill Scott, which I'm playing right now. Jill Scott, they both have said the same thing publicly, that, you know, right now it is the court of public opinion. Let the man go to court. You know, let charges be brought before you make a decision about what he did or did not do.
Right, I agree.
You know, and I said that from the very beginning. You know, I saw one of the political advisors on one of these mainstream media shows say that she believed every single female that said what they said about Bill Cosby. I got a problem with that too, especially the fact that you're involved. But I don't believe every single one. Do I believe that Bill Cosby cheated on his wife? Yes, I do. I believe that he did. Do I believe all of these jokers coming forward? No, I do not. The timing is too it's too precise,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and some of them have already been proven to be false. I mean, you know, with just trying to get a book, trying to get $100,000 so they'll be quiet. Also, all that pain gonna go away.
Exactly.
If you get $100,000. And I also heard on my way this morning, I heard that Spelman is now starting to separate themselves.
I really hated to hear that.
Spelman, I
really
mean,
hated that.
Bill Cosby has really been an advocate for educating our youth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same as Oprah has too. She sent a lot of young men through Morehouse.
Yeah.
A lot of them. You know, and you just hate to hear that money is not going to go towards. And it just seems to me that there's an underlining objective.
Yeah, it is.
You know, a goal I saw an old video of Bill Cosby educating, you know, those the differences between white children and black children, how they view themselves, had them draw pictures of others and have them, okay, now do a self-portrait, and they had arms cut off, they had legs cut off, because that's how they view themselves, you know, and I thought that was strong, that was phenomenal. Who else is talking about these things and you know, perpetuating the strength of the black family and education?
But if you give somebody a Bill Cosby like that, if you allow him to have something so powerful as his own media company.
Exactly.
They didn't want that. They didn't want that.
They didn't want that.
They didn't want that.
Not at all.
And unfortunately, you know, I think we just really have a problem with telling white people that they're wrong. And we need to call things what they really are. If you received money for sex, whether you were drugged or not, if you got paid, you were a prostitute. That is what it is.
Yeah.
The oldest profession in the book. Now, it may hurt your feelings to call somebody that. But most of these people who have come out have not pressed charges against him because they received money. You were a prostitute, and it might hurt your feelings, but that's what it is. And it's hard to say, and I know it's worse to hear, but that's real. And we got to start telling the truth, calling the truth. You know?
Oh, bad Troya. See how she was starting some stuff? You know, I at least, I know I went a few minutes past 5 o'clock. That's because I was, you know, in traffic.
That's because you the boss. The boss can do that.
Oh, man, I appreciate you guys. You guys know this. And I'm about to do some restructuring up and through here. Just figure I put that disclaimer out there for you to know. I'm about to do some restructuring. So, you know, the BeatDropsRadio shall continue.
That's good.
That's what's up.
And give you contact information, please, sir.
Well, let me give it again. It's 1-800-346-5138. And if you got any problems, any concerns, any issues, we will be the watchdog.
Me, Beyonce, and Jay-Z, we still on the run. So you can Google me, and that's that. That's what it is.
She's telling you, we still on the run. That's what's going on. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, everybody who tuned in to watch. This is something that we're going to put up to the audio portion of it so that you guys can share it. There are no takedowns, so you can reference it at any given time. Please support Black-owned businesses.
That's right.
I had to say that. I don't know why I wasn't saying it before. I'm tripping. Please support the Black-owned businesses. Please do that. And also like us on our Facebook page. If you haven't done it already, go to TheBeatDropsRadio.com. Click on the F. That'll take you right there. Once you click like, share it with all your friends. Follow us on Twitter at BeatDropsRadio. And my Instagram is Bianca_Burwell. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you share this. It's interesting when I look and see how many places that this show goes that pick up my entire show and rebroadcast that day. So shouts out to Black Voices, also to marijuana vids. I mean, it's a lot of y'all. It really is. One day I'm gonna have to like put something up because I appreciate you guys supporting me, because I told them as long as you give me the credit, you can use it, you know, however you see fit. So I appreciate you guys. The Philippines, Israel for tuning in. St. Louis, Texas. All of you guys, man. Of course, Atlanta and Ohio. Appreciate you guys. So we'll see you on tomorrow. Keep it locked, because we do play the hottest
Top Radio.
Very good show.
That was fun.
I saw my head up though.
Did the girl ever call you? I gave this lady named Brenda Tatum your telephone number. Told her to call you. Because you had a theme,